Rod songs ever.
Ever.
And that's called Nothing Going On in the City. And before that, we didn't hear Let It Rip because of a manufacturer
faulty
defect.
sequencing.
We heard Living Outside the Law, so we're going to try and hear Let It Rip going into the next set. But can you tell us what you just tell us on the air what you just told us about that Nothing Going On in the City story?
Yeah, you know, like originally the Rods, the first album that we did was, homemade, really. I mean, we carried 2-inch tapes to all the jobs with us and in and out of hotel rooms and in the car, and we recorded the first album that we did was called Rock Hard Album, and we recorded it at Fredonia College, actually, and it was, Carl was good friends with one of the guys that was, going to school there, and he was taking up, audio engineering, so we got to use the studio on certain weekends. We get it for like 24 hours a day, so we would, we'd be playing clubs, and, on the days that we weren't playing, we'd go there and we'd work in the studio on this album, and got the album done. We titled it Rock Hard, but that was the album that we ultimately got the deal with Arista Records with. So when Arista was going to release the record, they wanted us to do a couple of different songs on the album, and Nothing Going On in the City was one of the songs that they presented to us, and it was originally done by a group, I believe from Holland, that was called White Honey, and it was a punk rock, kind of a new wave style song. So what we did was we just took the song and adapted it into our style, and it just worked out really well, because I remember it took no time at all to take the song and play it. It fit well with us. So, and it turned out to be one of the most popular songs, to date.
Yeah, there used to be a show called The Rock Shop with Bob Appel, who was the main man as far as metal and rock went for a very long time, who's now no longer with us, but he played the crap out of that song. That was ingrained into my brain forever.
That, Hurricane, and Crank It Up.
Yep.
Where he played those... I think he alternated them, And sometimes he'd play more than one in a night, so sometimes you could hear all three of them.
Yeah, me and Craig, we would constantly request that song. It had to have been one of the most requested songs every year.
That's a good combination. Hurricane, Crank It Up, and Nothing Going On in the City.
What would you say is the most popular song that gets the best response when you play live?
I don't know. I mean, the three songs that you just mentioned, Power Lover is popular.
Yep.
Crank It Up, Nothing Going On in the City, Hurricane. They're some of the most popular songs. Violation's popular. Too Hot to Stop is,
Yeah, I remember hearing that one a lot too.
Yeah, everybody's got their own. There's certain songs that through the years we thought were like, oh, these songs are horrible. These are the worst songs. We don't really like these songs, so we put them like last on the album. And then somebody will come up and say, hey, such and such is my favorite song, and then we're thinking like, wow, we always thought that song was horrible, but everybody's got their own feeling about what they like, so that's cool, that's good.
I think as the night goes on and you play Violation, that becomes the most popular song.
Could be. There's a message there.
Yeah, it's strange, but once you're drunk, you love Violation more. I've witnessed it many times.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So have you, probably, in the front row. Guy with his beer.
We witnessed that Tuesday night, but more on that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. Now, as far as like overseas festivals and stuff, what have you guys got coming up?
Well, we're doing a European tour with the band that's Ronnie's band put back together called Dio Disciples. It's basically Ronnie's band with two different singers, and they're not doing this to think that they can to be Dio or anything like that. They're doing it as a tribute to him, so that they can honor his music and so that people can hear his music. And we're just we feel really fortunate to be able to go out on tour with them and do this, which will be in a number of different countries through Europe, where actually the strongholds of metal, for both of us and them will be. So it should be a very interesting tour.
Do you know who the two singers are?
One is Ripper Owens.
Ripper Owens is doing, I know he's doing part of it. I don't know if he's doing all of it. There's a couple other singers that I really wasn't familiar with, so I don't remember them, but what the names are. But there'll be two different singers throughout the tour.
Very cool.
So what is it? What's the difference between playing overseas and playing here?
Well, playing overseas is like, the people, this group of people that we're sitting around the table right now who are into the music, and you guys come to the shows and you do it over there, and you know how many people are at the shows when you come to them here, but over there it's like times 10 what you are, because there's more people that are into that kind of music, so it's a lot of denim, a lot of leather and long hair, and people that are into that kind of music. That's just the way it is over there. So it's a bigger market. It's like, back in the day when we would tour in the States, with say Judas Priest, it would always be in certain parts of the country where hard rock or heavy metal was more accepted, and there was a bigger market for it, which a lot of times back then was in Texas and the South, Louisiana, and sometimes Florida, and the Midwest also. But the United States being so big, Europe is small in comparison. So the countries over there are like states, here. So, but it's just more concentration of people that are into that kind of music. And I think history shows us that the Europeans are more accepting right from the very beginning of different types of music. A lot of American groups had to make it in Europe before they came to the United States and made it big, because people in the United States weren't interested in listening to something that was new or innovative. So they go to Europe, they become big because those people are got open ears over there. They accept it. And all of a sudden they sell, lots of records, so they come to the United States and, they're big over here. And Hendrix is a perfect example of that. So, anyways, I hope that answers your questions. But just the people in the European countries are more accepting, and they're more into that hard rock, heavy metal type of music.
Now, I know when you started playing out again here, the first couple shows, there was like tons of people that were just coming up to you and had stories from ages ago, and they had all this memorabilia and everything. So when you play over there, say like when you go to Germany or whatever, I mean, do people still come up with like the vinyl and old pictures and stuff like that, or is it more newer kids?
Yeah, well, like here, like when we first did the first show here, it was in Cortland like 3 or 4 years ago. We stayed after for about an hour doing signings, and meet and greet from people that were, from not far away, but New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, where they were close enough to make the drive to see the band. I mean, the bar that we were playing only holds 200 people, so, you put 200, 250 people in there, it's jam-packed. And they brought, CDs, they brought vinyl, they brought photos, they brought posters from, back when. And the couple of times that we've been to Europe and Germany to do shows, we've done like meet and greets, like either before or after the show. It's been the same thing. People will bring, vinyl that they have, the CDs that they might have gotten that were reissued, or posters, or whatever they might have. They bring to sign, to get signed and stuff. So yeah, they're bringing stuff from the past, and they're bringing the new stuff too.
And it's younger kids too that are into it.
Yeah, we're finding that the audience is pretty diverse, which was kind of a surprise to us too, because of course in the audiences there's a lot of people that were there back in the day, and they're older people, and but there's also some younger people, that are in the front row, like singing the words to the songs along with the band, and and there's also people that would come up and meet us and say, yeah, I saw you back in the day, and this is my son, and I turned him on to your music, and now he likes it, and he's 17, 18 years old. So it's it's the music is like crossing the generations, gaps. So,
kind of like the example last summer, me and Bill coming out to see, where I listened to you back in the day, and he'd never heard a note you played until we saw you in Ithaca last year.
Not a clue.
And it was all good, wasn't it?
My ears rang for like 48 hours. It was awesome.
Is that on?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't like when we seen you in the temple, though.
I think you guys are the only band who can outloud Motorhead.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, I saw Motorhead like about 2 months ago in New York City, and every time I've seen you, you guys are the only band I can think of who are louder than
Well, we've been called the
Motorhead.
American Motorhead, so, No, but we did some dates with Motorhead before back in the day, and they're really great guys. I mean, Lemmy's a great guy, and they were a good band too, and we enjoyed doing the shows with them, because the Rods and Motorhead had fit really well together on the same bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would actually go see that for sure.
Yeah.
I would go see
Definitely.
that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Without a doubt.
What other bigger, like big name bands like Priest and Metallica or anything like that have you toured with?
Oh, the Rods. We did a lot of one-off things. We toured mostly in the States with Judas Priest. We did like a 30-day tour in the UK with Iron Maiden back in the day. At the same time we were there to record the Wild Dogs album, and we did a lot of other one-off dates. In the States too. But Metallica, when we played the New York City area, they were just starting out, and they were like opening the show for us, on a couple of dates, and which was, kind of a great thing, to say that we played even the same show with Metallica, them being such a great band and all. So,
Now, you mentioned Metallica, and I remember just after Ronnie died, Lars had put up something, back when we all used MySpace, he had put up a blog describing getting to meet Ronnie when you guys were all touring as Elf with Deep Purple, and I thought that was really cool that he did that, and because we've all got I never met him. I got I had the honor of seeing him twice, and we've all got love and respect for Ronnie, and it's just Lars coming out like that really impressed me.
No, he's a great guy. He had a lot of love for Ronnie too, so and it really showed it. So you don't realize the metal world, is like a lot of times nobody really even sees each other or talks to each other, but when somebody's in trouble or somebody passes away, then people come out of the
It all
walls,
comes together,
to say that, to show respect for that person. So, but there was a lot of people that did that.
One thing I can say for as far as like turnouts, like concert turnouts, now, I think if Dio were to play around here when he was still alive, he'd get a decent turnout. But
he had better than a decent turnout the last, a couple times I saw him, because I saw him in '85.
Well, we seen him
with Sacred Heart, and that was the big, wow, look at that stage show, and that plus Ronnie just, he could strip it all down and it would still be amazing because.
Yeah, well, we seen him on the when he was finally reunited with Black Sabbath. There, we seen him
right
when we seen him when the Heaven and Hell disc came out, right?
Yep.
Josh
Right.
with Motorhead.
Yeah. Yep.
and
We saw that.
and then we seen him with
Testament and Motorhead again.
well,
Testament.
no, it was Machine Head and Megadeth in New
Yep,
Jersey.
and that was New Jersey in '07.
And the New Jersey show was actually a lot more packed than the Buffalo show was.
Yeah. Well, like you were saying earlier, bigger places with bigger populations like New
Yeah,
York, there's a
yeah.
much bigger scene than there is in upstate.
The bigger draw for people,
Yeah.
like that.
Well, I'm going to try and play Let It Rip again. But before I try this one more time, I'm going to ask you, have you ever signed a Wild Dogs back patch?
A Wild Dog's backpack?
Back patch.
Backstage pass? No.
No,
Their
no,
I don't think
back
so.
patch.
No, back
A
patch.
backpack.
Yeah.
For the jean jacket.
Oh, yeah, I have one on my jacket.
Do you really?
Yeah. But you know what I did? I took a T-shirt and I cut the T-shirt apart, and I made a patch to put on the back of my jacket. So that's how it
Nice.
happens to be there.
That's awesome.
All right, we're going to try this again and see if it actually works this time.